everybody. Welcome to SportsFlossGloss.
Hey,
we in
let's
this
get it.
thing,
Let's get
right?
it. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited to get into this. This is something that we had kind of talked about and been planning for a while. So I know Nevette and I are both super excited to get this thing going. So
Super excited. Right. So, so Sports Floss and Gloss, we've been working on this for a while, just trying to get the content together, trying to get our nerves together to do this thing,
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we're going to do a little quick intro.
You want to go ahead and start us off?
Sure. All right. For the audience out there, my name is Nevette. And I am a reasonably aged millennial.
There we go.
Millennial who happens to love sports and other things that are of the world. Hence the Sports Floss Gloss. So I'm not a one-dimensional type of chick. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of this platform. We're gonna talk about all different kinds of things. Kim?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kimberly, Kim, I go by both. Just if it's written, I wanted to say Kimberly. So when you start commenting and coming for me, just make sure you address it to Kimberly. Because I know I'm sure it's coming. I'll say something to press somebody's buttons. But yeah, same thing. Also a reasonably aged millennial. Like we're in the age group where we're old enough to make very reasoned decisions, but still young enough to still like rock and kick it and know, what's new, what's fresh, what's outcoming. So I'm excited too. Same thing like Nevette. We wanted to do something that we thought hadn't been done yet. And that's just to talk about something that we both really, really love, and that's sports. But we also, as you can see, are African-American women. And so talking about it from that lens, that perspective of things that are impacting all the different types of sports, but sometimes that'll segue into some other things as well. So that's a little bit about us, and I'm excited for us to dive right in.
Yeah, and one thing we wanted to make sure that the audience out there knew before we started was that we are through and through, blue and blue,
through and through,
blue
and blue. Oh. There's only one blue. I'm just gonna just in case.
There's only one.
Just in case. There's only one blue. So this is the only one we know. Not to be confused with lighter shades.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So while we both are reasonable and can be, we can speak about our team and talk about the short and things that they aren't doing well. We just want you to know that there's definitely some bias there, and there always will be, but not so much so that we can't talk about them very realistically. So if they're not playing well, they're not playing well, and we both are mature enough to call them out when they're not doing what they should be doing. So that being said,
right, but you best believe I will be like KD in those comments to all my trolls.
Because yes, exactly, because
we can talk bad about them, but gotta have some respect.
Exactly. I'm with you on that. So that kind of segues into the first thing we wanted to get talking about for this particular episode, and that's college basketball. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I know Nevette is excited. I mean, as
already nervous.
Yeah, and we should have said this. Already nervous, on the edge of our seat. We should have started with this, that we're not just Duke fans, we're Duke alums. So that's a whole different type of bond and allegiance that we have. So it runs real deep. Being that we are
to the tent.
Yes. Oh,
3-degree weather.
Flashbacks. Yo, it's crazy because I was just talking to somebody about that today, and they were telling me how crazy we were to be out there. But, when you're 18, 19 years old, it's crazy. As a reasonably aged millennial now, it's like, but you have to. It's part of the experience.
I think we did that when we were 21 too. So
we did, but it was much shorter. I remember that. You're right. It was a little bit shorter that time. So we weren't out there as long. But I'd consider 21 to still be kind of bad decision making, right? for real. So I think we want to dive in as anyone who is interested in the sports world is probably already aware. There was a pretty big announcement with the NCAA basically saying that the student athletes can be paid for their likeness. And so I don't know if you want to kick it off and say anything specifically about that, Nevette, and get us going.
I think it's the NCAA once again being retroactive instead of proactive because they knew that
they're good at that.
You know, they're going to have a big problem on their hands because of the bill that was passed in California. And then other bills are bringing it up into their Congress as well. Other states are bringing it up to their Congress. And then there was even a congressman who in Washington who's going to bring it to the national stage. So I think it was NCAA trying to retroactively get ahead of a problem that had been a problem all along. I mean, this is something that could have been fixed a long time ago.
Yeah, I agree. I would say though, I guess kind of apprehensive of how serious they are and exactly how quickly it's going to happen. Now, I know it said that they wouldn't do anything until at least, I believe, 2020, 2021 season. So we're looking at next basketball season. But even so, I mean, part of it, I feel like, is them just trying to get these congressmen to pull the bills that they have before their various state representatives to try and get something going from a legislative standpoint. I think much to your point, right? Let's react to something that somebody else is trying to make a change to, and let's see if we can't do what we want to do and do it on our own terms. So I'm a little skeptical about what this actually means, and if it means that anytime soon these players are going to get paid for their likeness. So, you know, anytime they're using video games and commercials and different things like that. And then too, right, because they have to figure out how do you put the price on it? Are they signing contracts? Are they making the contracts directly with the particular entity that's producing the likeness? You know, I think there's just so much work to be done anyway. And then I just don't feel like they're that serious about it. I think they're just trying to stop the legislators from doing it.
Yeah. Once again, so it's a wait and see game. We have to see how they plan on implementing it, how they're going to plan on governing it. I mean, they're not they're not the best when it comes to governing or to
Nope, so, they're not.
We'll see how that works. And then I know they're still trying to keep the players in amateur status and all of that jazz. So I mean, it's gonna be, I feel like a mom and pop shop with the students and their parents, trying to
drafting legal documents and whatnot. Like, here you go.
Right, because you can't have agents and all that stuff. So who's gonna be handling these business matters if you're making money off your images and all of that? So that's a whole different ball game.
It really is, and I don't know, right? Does that mean that you now are starting to hire an additional member of your personnel that's in charge of doing that for everyone? By everyone, of course, just being the ones who we're actually talking about here, right? So,
maybe they would just have to let the NCAA be aware of their business endeavors, like, oh, I'm doing this, or I don't know. Otherwise, I mean, does it? I don't know.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I think us just having this dialogue just further convinces me that 2020, 2021 is not a thing, and nothing's really going to change, because in this 3 or 4 minutes of us going back and forth talking about it, like, think about all the different levels of what it means to actually implement this. And
but it's going to happen in California. Really, we know that.
Yeah.
So well, I think as long because that's already done. That's going to happen next year in California, right? It's next year, correct?
I believe it's next year. I think you're right. If not next year, the year after. But I think you're right. It's next academic year. But, I will say for the other states that have been involved, I can't remember which legislature in particular it was, which state it was. But I do recall reading that the NCAA tried to get them to take their bill off the floor because they said, look, we're doing something. Okay. And so them.
Yeah. And LeBron, he was like, you got to. I do. And the governor signed his bill while he was at LeBron's with the shop. So anyway.
Yeah, I agree. So I think the legislators are not retracting what the work that they've already done. They're not taking these bills off the floor because the NCAA has tried to take some action. So I think that might help a little. It'll provide some leverage for them to get rolling with it. But again, we'll just kind of have to wait and see because I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical. Yep.
All right. So next topic, we got to keep it rolling, So let's talk about next week. We got them boys. We got the Brotherhood playing.
The Brotherhood.
On the field.
The Brotherhood.
So
look, I'm an honorary sister of the Brotherhood.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I am.
Do they know
they are not fully aware. I don't have the same perks per se.
Okay.
But I try to get over there when I can since I'm still close to the area.
You are, yes.
I try to get in there when I can. Last year I was able to make it to a game, which was great.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I wish I could have seen Zion and
shout out to
Cam in person.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. Shout out to Wham Bam, Bridgette Mitchell.
Oh, what up, Bridgette?
Yeah, B Money $. She's got like a million names. But she was coming down here for something, and she came through with some tickets for me, her, and one of her grad student assistants who was helping coach where she was at the time. And so went to the game. We were sitting maybe 2 rows behind the bench. I mean, it was stupid.
It was stupid. Who were they playing?
I'm pretty sure. So 1 or 2. It was either Boston College or Florida State. So it was an ACC game. So it was yeah. Oh yeah. I want to say February about time of year. I think it was. And David Robinson was there, of course, because of his son playing.
So every game, yeah.
Exactly. Well, when you retired and you got a little extra cash,
right? He looked like the Currys. You remember when
Seth was there,
and Mama Curry was at every game.
Every game. But I respect that so much. That's great that they are able to travel around and watch them. So
they're based in North Carolina, so
yeah, so that helps. But yeah, I was able to see him and take a picture with David Robinson, who was a giant. I'm not tall by any means, but he really made me feel, very close to the ground. So I remember going up to him and you take a picture with somebody and you go to put your arm around them, even when they're famous people, you don't know them that well, just like, hey, get in here. And I got ready to, and I realized that my arm was at the same height as his butt. And I was like, well, I can't touch that. So I just had to, I was like this, and I was like, let me put that down. So I just kind of leaned in. So yeah, his waist was at the height that I would lift my shoulder. So his waist was right here, if that's any.
Yeah. I can picture it.
Yeah, you're a little taller than me. Well, probably quite a bit taller than me. So you would have fared better, but it was not good. I'll put it this way. He made Bridgette look pretty short. So
that's well, he is the admiral.
Admiral. Yep. All right. Cool
All
deal.
right.
So we got this. We got a big game next week. I'm excited. So they're playing Kansas. I believe it's a 7:00 game in the Garden. So Duke North. We got a Duke North, a Duke South, and a true Duke now.
Yeah, right. Duke South.
We got Duke South.
Welcome
to
Louisiana. Nolans.
There we go. Nolans. So I think that I'm gonna roll with us. I mean, we're the 4th ranked. They're the 3rd ranked. They have a little more experience, especially with starting players. Obviously, they still have Azubuike.
And I would say in the center position. And he didn't play last year, so he's going to be pretty fresh.
Right. Yep. And I'm guessing that his matchup is going to be with Vernon Carey Jr. That's a guess. Who isn't a true center. He's a power forward, but he's the biggest body on the team. So freshman, senior skill set, and so we'll see how he performs and matches.
He's going to be more agile, and that's something that we can. That's going to be something he's going to have to take advantage of in the paint.
Exactly. And even if he can draw him out to the perimeter a bit, I saw him dribble a little in a couple of the exhibition games, and his handles weren't awful. So I don't think it's something that he wants to get in the habit of doing. I mean, it's no Zion type of situation. But I think if he could get him out on the perimeter and kind of not quite blow by him, but get by him and have an extra step on him, I think. So we'll see. But I'm rolling with us for the for the opening game.
Yeah,
sure that's no shocker.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna roll with Duke too for that game as well. Only because it's the first game of the season, and I think we're gonna yeah, it's really hard to know how they're going to perform on their first stage. This is going to be the first big stage they're going to be on, the freshmen. And, a lot of people are going to be talking about comparing them to last year's class. So I'm pretty sure they want to feel like they have a lot to live up to when they come out there. So it's going to be more of like, I think the mental, how mature they are when they come out. But as far as talent goes, we have the better talent. And we all know that our coach is the GOAT. So he's going to have them ready. It's just a matter of if it's going to click. So
exactly, it's going to be execution. So I completely agree with that. And I think we have a solid defensive team, which is not something that we've been able to say often in the last, honestly, 10 years to be.
Before last year.
Last year's was solid.
We had a good, they were pretty good defensively last year, but before that, we were
It was very much just outscore everybody, right?
Yeah, it was very much. These are freshmen. They don't know how to play defense.
And then we have a huge one and done program now, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. But what it means is they don't play defense their freshman year, and then
we have to. They're teaching them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to roll with Duke in that early game. And then following them is a 1-2 matchup, Michigan State being the number 1 and Kentucky being the number 2. What are your early thoughts about that one?
I think Kentucky is going to win the game. One thing about Michigan State is we all know they're a slow team. They don't start off hot. It takes them a while to get where they need to be.
Yep.
But they do have a lot of veteran presence there, so that's going to help them a lot. And also with them, they don't do well with the hype. When it's hype, they like to play the underdogs, and I think that especially the way that Kentucky got blasted last year by Duke, I think that they're going to have some extra pep in their step not to lose this opening game. But I'm going to give Calipari the edge here over Michigan State.
Okay, all right, and I'm going to disagree. I'm going to pick. Yep, I'm gonna roll with the Spartans, and you know what? It's really just about the experience. Deep in my soul, I want to go with Kentucky because Michigan State ousted us last year, right. But at the beginning, and just crushed all my dreams.
But that was all on us. That was all. You can't win.
That's true. That's true.
You have like 13 turnovers, so
it's hard to do it apparently, and as you. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So it's no fault of anyone's but theirs. But I'm just going to go with the experience. I think Cassius Stanley is a phenomenal player. I think he's a phenomenal point guard and a phenomenal leader. They have a lot of other guys that are coming back that are going to be important for that ball team. And I think he and those guys will be really good at using the freshmen that get some playing time to bring them up to that moment and that big stage. But I hear you on the slow starts, and I hear you on the typically not living up to the hype and doing well in those big games. But I think last year they stepped up some because while we did make a lot of turnovers, they made sure that those turnovers costed us, right?
But that was also at the end of the season.
Yeah, I know.
That's when they click.
Yeah. So I'm just going to, because it's the beginning of the season, but they have a lot of veterans. I'm banking on the clicking, rolling over. So not having to learn a new set of people.
I can agree with you. I can see your point.
But I think if they were doing the rebuilding that like the Kentuckys and the Dukes are doing every single year, I don't think they are built for that. Because to your point, no.
Yeah,
Kentucky and Duke, because they've learned how to do it and make the tournament every year and do well in the tournament. And I don't know that Michigan State has the same model to be able to do that.
Oh, no.
So we'll see who's right on that one. Since we have some differences of opinion, I'm making a little note here. Okay. Not that I'll forget.
Okay.
We'll
All right,
see.
who's gonna be flossy? Who's gonna be glossy?
There we go. Dang, I hope I don't get iced out. Watch Kentucky roll over these boys. That's all right. That's all right. I can take it. I've been wrong before.
I mean, it's the first game of the season, so you know.
It is. It is. And I think that's what I'm most excited about, just to really see. You got the top 4 teams in the country playing, see what they have to offer, see how they respond to this first game against some very good competition, and just roll in through the rest of it. So I'm pretty pumped about it. So we'll see who's right.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm nervous about the Kentucky-Michigan State game. See, that's going to be the problem with this show, is that usually I only have one game that I'm nervous about, and it's whoever Duke is playing. Now I'm about to be nervous from 7 o'clock until like midnight. So, because I want to be right. Not
you want to be right. I think.
Yeah. And it matters for nothing, right? We haven't put anything on it. There's nothing that's going to come from this, but nobody wants to be wrong. So,
all right. You're right. I know.
So you want to go ahead and let's kind of transition and talk about the NBA a little bit? Yep. Did you see that now the Golden State Warriors have another injury to go along?
Yeah, I saw Draymond.
Curry.
Yeah.
Draymond. Yeah, his finger. I don't know which one it is, but I heard or read he said, that he couldn't grip the ball.
Yeah,
when they were playing Spurs the other night.
And old boy's not playing tonight either because of ankle injury. So
who's that?
Russell D'Lo. So
yeah.
I'm like, who's playing tonight? Who's going to score the point?
Who's score the points? Who's going to be in a uniform? I don't even know who's on the squad other than them. Well, that's not true. I know Quinn Cook is up there.
No, babe. Quinn is playing it for Lakers.
He sure is. Dang.
So you really don't know who's playing for them.
Whoa, I forgot.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. they ain't got nobody. Dang, that is crazy.
No.
Well, I would just like to go ahead and say RIP to the Warriors. I got a little water bottle here. I can pour one out for the homies.
Oh, you pour one out for the homies? Okay.
I'm actually, for the homies, that's the Golden State Warriors. I'm obviously not going to actually pour it on my floor, but theoretically, I'm pouring it out for the homies.
This is, talk about a change in fortunes, right?
Oh yeah. The highs and lows.
I mean, definitely they are. It's like, it's very quick turnaround. It's like ridiculous. Yeah. It's like in the span of 7 games. I mean, going back to last year.
Yep.
They lost like all 4 of their All-Stars.
Yeah, they did. One to a trade, and
but then before that, he's Achilles.
Yeah. Yep. That's true. He was hurt anyway, so even if he was there, he wouldn't have been able to play this year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't think he's playing.
He's not coming. He's not coming back. He already said he wasn't coming back for the Nets either. So, and then
I heard they tried to keep it open, but
no. I mean, if Clay not coming back from his ACL,
exactly, you're not coming back from no Achilles, and that's the other thing too. You don't put somebody out there who has that kind of injury and who is the age that KD is, and risk it not being fully healed unless you're actually making a run for a ring.
And they're not.
And that we're 7 games in, 8 games in. I already know they're not. 5 games in, whatever it is. I think it's more like 5 or 6 games in. Yeah. Speaking of, so I think we should make some early picks.
Okay.
Keep track of it and see who's closest or right at the end of the season for who's coming out of the East and who's coming out of the West.
Okay. All right.
I feel like I have a feeling about who you're picking out of the West. I got a feeling about who you're picking. And I probably shouldn't go against the King, but I'm going with the Clippers out of the West. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with the Clippers. Now, I will be the first to admit that the game the Clippers and the Lakers played opening is not an indication. I've heard different people say different things that they think it's an indication. I don't think it means anything. It was early, and clearly LeBron has turned it on the last night he was the game
trying
before,
to make a statement.
He was. The game before, he and AD had like a combined 70 points or something like that.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm rolling with the Clippers is because of their bench. I just think as we get down the wire and we talk about your load management, right? And as you saw, they already had Kawhi sitting out game 3 or 4, which is ridiculous.
Game 3.
Yeah, so it's stupid and it's ridiculous. You got fans that, they pay to see the other players too.
Yeah.
If he has something going on, that's fine. But load management, game 3, nah. You need to suit up. You need to play. You're getting paid all that money. Go play. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. But I think we talk about all of that now in the league. And I think once they get down the stretch, that bench is going to be so important. And LeBron and AD don't have the help that Kawhi and Paul George eventually, when he comes back, will have. So if you're talking about kind of the top 2, those role players have been, I think, are more significant and will be more consistent. And so that's what my concern is. My concern is you got 2 guys who are doing the bulk of the scoring. How far does that take you? And God forbid injuries and things like that happen. So that's the reason I'm rolling with the Clippers out of the West over Golden State. I'm kidding. I know. That was a joke. The way they're looking, the Lakers bench could play against whoever it is that Golden State has, and I think they still would wipe the floor with them. I don't even know who Golden State has, so not to disrespect
I know they have
guys,
Jordan Poole, who played for Michigan last year. I do know he's on the team, and Marquise Chris.
Oh, sounds scary.
Okay, so as you hinted at, who I'm gonna have to roll with all day, every day. Just like I'm rolling with my Blue Devils, I'm rolling with my Lakers to come from a Lakers household until one brother kind of sold out. Anyway, there's neither here nor there. So I've been rooting for the Lakers for as long as I've learned basketball, learned to love basketball. I've been rooting for the Lakers, and for the first time in a long time, we're going to make the playoffs. So I'm excited to make the playoffs again. But of course, I feel like
perspective.
But of course, I feel like we can definitely win the West. If it's kind of wide open this year anyway across the board for both sides. But
I'll agree with that.
I definitely think we can win the West. And I do have your concerns too about the bench. But I think they're trying to develop that. I know they're giving just by watching the game last night, I saw that they were trying to give people more, leeway to score. But LeBron was having his night. But so one thing
feed the beast.
But one thing too that we have to take into consideration is that we do have Kyle Kuzma. They fought to keep Kyle Kuzma out of the trade. So they're banking on him to be like a third scorer, and he has to be a consistent third scorer. Like, we need someone who can shoot it at a clip from the periphery, which we don't have now. We do have more consistent 3-point shooters than we had last year and years before that. I'm thanking God for that. Like, we can throw it to the corner and we have a chance of it going in, you know what I'm saying? Which not the case the last couple of years. But we don't have like a consistent shooter, like, because, PG and Kawhi, they play in the 2, they play in the 3. And so they're going to have the ball in their hands. They have control, and then they're better shooters, more efficient shooters than LeBron is. And even though AD is trying to, push his 4, trying to play the power forward, and then you can tell he right now he's doing too much to try to prove that he can play the 4. I just need you, man. I don't want to see any more
score the ball. Just score the ball.
I don't want to see any more fadeaways when you fall into the sideline and you can't make it back on D because you fade away. I need you to use your length and your body to get to the paint. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
But
they're paying you to score.
Right. And
they don't really care how you do it, but don't do dumb stuff.
Don't do dumb stuff. Like, okay.
That's
so, and then, so
that's what it boils down to.
We need someone we can depend on at the 2 and at the 3 when it comes down to it, because those are the people who win the games for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of my concerns about the Lakers. Another concern that I think that the Clippers have an upper hand on us, that they have better team chemistry. Like, the only people they brought in were their 2 all-stars who are going to get them over the hump. Everybody else was there last year.
Yep.
And they, gave Golden State all they can give them in the first round last year. They're a gritty defensive team. And they have great coach and Doc. But, just because, if you got a fighting chance, I'm giving it, I'm giving it to the Lakers. And I feel, we can,
Okay. Yeah, I agree with your assessment of it. If the Lakers are going to come out of the West, they have got to have Kuzma as that option, because, like you said, they fought for him, but because they didn't have many pieces to trade to get AD, obviously you're not going to trade LeBron, because that was the point, to have them together. They got rid of the other players they had that had been developing and were doing pretty well for them. And Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo was coming along in his own right. It's just, as far as
they had a lot of injuries,
and then they did. They had a lot of that going on. So if you get rid of the other kind of core guys that you had that were contributing, and you kind of brought in some scrubs to replace them that are just like older guys. They're veterans, but have a lot of wear and tear on their body. And then of course, what's his name? DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie gets hurt. So that's one less person that you can.
They do have,
but
they have Danny Green. They brought him in as a 3-and-D
3-point specialist.
And he hit that 3 at the end of the game last night, and into overtime. So that's what he's there for. But he's not a Steph Curry 3-point shooter.
Exactly. So to your point, I think same thing. They need to have Kuzma be consistent, and then for the guys that are coming off the bench, do what you're supposed to do. If I can count on you, Danny, to hit 2 or 3 threes per game, I need you to do that consistently every game. They can't afford, especially as you get into the playoffs, they can't afford to go a game or series, if you will, and have him averaging 4 and 5 points, because he's one of the top players that's going to come off the bench, and you need him to be able to score the basketball, especially in situations where LeBron is getting a break or AD is getting a break. Like, who are you looking to score the ball if those two either aren't on the floor, or if they're not open, they're not available? Who's going to take the shot?
Exactly. So, and you can't. It's hard to play AD and Kuzma at the same time, because Kuzma is a power forward. That's his natural position. So we'll see. We have a lot of spacing issues to work through, as you can see.
It's a long season.
But, right. We just in November. We just in November. Second week of the season. So you rolling with the Clippers.
I'm rolling with the Clippers.
And I'm rolling with the Lake Show, of course. So let's go to the East.
Okay. Yeah, what you got? There's not a lot to pick from.
You know what? I think
that's my personal pick.
I'm from what I've seen so far, I'm going with the Sixers.
We're all spot on. That's where I'm headed.
But our boy Jay Tatum acting like he Kobe out there winning games at the buzzer. But because had that Mamba mentality.
Shout out to the brotherhood.
I'm so happy for him. So far he's rebounding from that slump last year. I'm really happy that he's finding his groove. But I think I don't think even the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks can beat the Sixers this year. Just from what I see from the Bucks, I think they're gonna kind of regress this year. it's too much of the same, and then they lost a key player. So yeah, I'm rolling with the Sixers for no other reason that I think that with their roster, it would it's shame on them if they don't make it.
Yeah, absolutely. If Joel can stop fighting, I think.
Or as Barkley said, they were cuddling.
Yeah. They just had a little, wasn't much of a fight, more like a little headlock. Yeah, it's like he had the headlock doing do you remember, I have older brothers, you have an older brother, so like little noogie, that's what it looked like headlock. And then it pretty quickly was broken up, so it wasn't much of a fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the talent, Embiid, Ben Simmons, now he still isn't really shooting, and maybe, well, I don't think that's okay. I think at some point he needs to develop that shot, because until he does, everyone's going to give it to him, and he's just such a talented player. They would really just level out his game.
Remember the big deal it was when he made that 1 3-point shot?
Yep, people.
Woo! I mean, it was on freaking Bleacher Report. Because of that one shot, they won the championship or something. But it
was important. Yep, it wasn't even real. So yeah, that's important because it's something that he doesn't have. So I think with that, they were able to get Al Horford during the off season. I just think, now I will say the thing for them that I'm not super concerned, but like a little bit of concern is the other thing, or the thing that lost, was JJ Redick, who was my heart and soul, my absolute favorite Duke player. And obviously he's a 3-point specialist. And so he helps with the spacing on the floor because you cannot leave him open. He is one of those, and he has been since college. I mean, he's an automatic, and he's always a threat. Even games where he's having an off game, he's a threat. And so I think it changes things, especially since Ben Simmons can't shoot it. So they don't have a lot of perimeter shooting, and potentially that can bite them in the butt, and we'll see how much of an impact it has. But I'm that would be my one thing.
I think that, I think they've gotten better defensively, because even though
that's true.
Even though JJ, I mean, he's a shooter.
He's not there to play defense.
He's a little liability when when you have to lock down. So I think they got better there defensively, and which should help them. So I think they're going to have the same problem too, about who's going to be their go-to scorer in those moments when they need a bucket. But yeah. So enough about the East. I mean, whatever. Who cares?
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much who cares? Oh man, I would like to say that too, but the Hornets are awful. So there's really
yes, they are the Warriors of the East.
They are. Dang, that's crazy. But you know what the sad part is? They don't have any injuries. They're just bad. They don't have 3 all-stars that are hurt. They're just bad. They lost Kimba, which is the only thing they had, and now I'm actually going to a game next weekend, so I have otherwise not seen them. I'll let you know what I see.
Okay.
Although I don't think there'll be much I doubt there's much to report.
I will be waiting.
Anxiously anticipating my
right.
Yep, on the edge of your seat.
Yes, by the phone, waiting for you to tell me all the greatness.
Nevette, guess what?
Yeah.
They lost. Again.
Oh jeez. All right. Okay.
All right. Yeah. So let's transition. We'll talk a little bit about some football now. We'll kick it off with college football. Yeah, and that's your bread and butter. I'm gonna let you kick it off, especially since you're down there where the big time SEC is.
Yeah, I'm in SEC country. I'm in the heart of SEC country.
You got all the. Yep. You got all the fire around you. We got a few here and there in the ACC, but you got the fire, so I'll let you kick it off. Well, I mean, there's some good matchups, or there's a good game today, and then they got one next weekend. So they're 4 or 5 teams that are pretty decent. Yeah, by pretty decent I mean really good. We got like one anyway.
All right. All right. So it's so college football. We are in the thick of it. This is where it's getting to the nitty gritty, right? Today, Florida, Georgia played, and I mean, that was a key game because it had all kind of playoff implications because both of these teams had a shot of making it to the playoffs if they go to the SEC championship and win that game. So Georgia won. I think, of course, they needed that win. What I just said. It was a pretty decent game. I think Georgia showed that they were at a different level than Florida. And I'm not just saying that because I have some kind of bias against Dan Mullins because the way he left Mississippi State, but that's okay.
It doesn't sound like there's any bias there.
But yeah, so now, so Florida, so now Georgia, they held the key to their destiny. Like they control their fate. So, as long as they don't lose again, and I don't think they have a game that's coming up, that, that's going to be something that they're concerned about. So as long as they have another slip up, like they did against South Carolina, they should be good to go. But then next week, this is the matchup to end all matchups. We got number 1, number 2. We got LSU and Bama.
Roll Tide.
I hear that all the time.
I bet you do.
All the time. I'm so excited. Like, I think I might roll down there and see what's going on down there. It's going to be traffic. But then when I think about that traffic, maybe not. I'm not there. Yeah. So this so for once, LSU is going to come in with a full complement. They have an offense that is on par or better than Bama's.
Yeah.
I think Bama's defense is a little better. But it all depends on if Tua is going to play.
That's kind of where I am as far as who I think is going to win this game. I think if Tua isn't back from that injury, then I am favoring heavily LSU. If he's there, then I think it becomes a bit of a more difficult for me to lean one way or the other, probably given the edge a little bit slightly to Alabama, but even so, not much of an edge because just depending on how he responds. Now, I know everyone's trying to look to that last kind of surgery that he had, the exact same surgery on the other ankle. And if my memory is correct, he kind of hit the ground running and you couldn't tell much of an impact from the injury.
He had a bigger break. So that was between the last game of the season.
That's true.
And then the college playoff championships, the college playoff. And so he had like about, a month to, to rest.
To heal and be back. So that's a good point. So it really just depends. One, are they putting him out there at all, right? Do you risk it? Are you putting him out there at all? And if you are, to your point, with this shorter turnaround, what's this, like 2 weeks is what it will have been, I think, between
2 weeks.
I think about 2 weeks that he'll have to recover from that and where he is and if we're able to tell that he's impacted and affected by it. And, the mobility and things like that are impacted. So that's how I'm kind of looking at it. I think you're right. LSU has a much of a very complete team. And I think Alabama has adjusted some and not relied in more recent years as much on its defense and has gotten very good quality quarterbacks in there that can do some damage on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, they hired one of the offensive coaches from the Saints. So.
Yep, there we go. That might help.
Got them a little injection in the arm,
There we go. Who are historically, the Saints are a pretty good football team most years. They're all right. Yeah, they're real good, especially offensively.
Offensive, right? Really good. Yeah.
Very good. So that definitely has made a difference.
That was like one of the best hires that LSU could have made. Because otherwise, they had Joe last year and they didn't do much with them. So, they showed us what quality coaching and the quality scheme would get you. Like, they had so much talent. They didn't know how to use it, though. Because they always had, all these, highly recruited, number 1, number 2 talent recruitments that they would have coming in. But,
and you know what? You're saying that, and we don't have to jump ahead yet, but I just want to say that you were saying that made me think about the Cleveland Browns, right? Because you got the talent. I know, but you said it, and I'm like, dang, it's just like the Browns.
Let it out.
If you have the talent, but you don't have. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so this game is going to be crucial because this game is going to be really crucial. And also it depends. Like maybe it could happen that whoever loses this game still has a shot to make it to the playoffs. Because just looking at the field as a whole, I think when Oklahoma lost, that opened up the picture for 2 SEC teams to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it may not be. Yeah, and especially with where they're positioned right now. You know, I mean, I think when you have a situation when it's 1 versus 2, now, of course, it still matters what everyone around them does. Mm-hmm. But if number 1 wins, everyone expects them to win anyway. So it doesn't really hurt Bama that much. Mm-hmm. And it
has to be a close game.
Exactly. It still has to be close. Exactly. You can't get blown out. So the point spread matters. But you expect LSU to win as a number 1 over the number 2. But then if Bama wins, similar thing. Like part of the reason why they are where they are is because of the issues they're having with personnel and things like that, mainly Tua.
And I just remembered that LSU star cornerback, their most talented defensive player, he got hurt the last game. He turned his ankle. So that's
it'll be interesting
because where Bama shines is that their receiving core is stacked. So that's gonna hurt. They might hurt them a little, LSU.
So I think you're right. I think whoever wins this game, as long as the other team can keep it close, I think you have they're both in the conversation for postseason type of football because these are really good teams.
Yeah, especially with Wisconsin, they lost twice. They lost to Ohio State, then they lost to Illinois, right?
Whoa! The Ohio State.
I'm sorry, that was not trademark.
That's so dumb.
They lost that battle. Okay.
That's all right. I might get trolled at some point about that, but whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So Tuesday, the college football playoffs, they're going to have the committee going to release their first 4. So it's going to be the first look at who they think right now would be in the playoffs. So we're going to look at their rankings next week. So I'm pretty sure it's just going to follow the coaches poll.
I think so too. Yeah. At this point, I really do. I agree with you. I think based on what happened this week, there wasn't any upsets, nothing crazy. So I think you're going to look, and the LSU-Bama game isn't until next weekend. Mm-hmm. So on Tuesday, I think it's going to go straight LSU-Bama, OSU, Clemson.
And they might put Georgia might be like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
I don't see who. I think Oregon might be like the. We'll see how they think about Oregon too at that time, which was really interesting.
I agree. So I think they're just going to go straight down the line there, because there's nothing to otherwise shift anything at this moment.
Yeah,
I think what we end up seeing with the LSU-Bama game on Saturday, I think that'll have some sort of role, and potentially things shift. But again, if everything else is consistent, then it may not really change the rankings anyway, Right. So it may not change anyone's mind, other than Tua coming back at some point. So maybe they jump because of that. But
and maybe Bama doesn't want Tua to come back, and they can say if they lose this game, Tua wasn't there, so you should take that when you rank us. They might give them a more favorable ranking because the committee be like, well, Tua wasn't there when they, so.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, you would look at the Golden State Warriors differently, right? If Steph and Clay and Draymond were there, right? It'd be a different conversation. But
once again, going back to it, still would just be them. They still don't have any other people.
That's true. That's fair. It's not the best comparison, but
right. And then Kevin Looney is out. He's been hurt for the longest, man.
It's just sometimes you got to know. You've heard me say this: when to hold them, when to fold them.
Yeah, you gotta fold. You gotta let it go. You gotta say that this year's flossy, not glossy.
There we go. I'm with it.
All right.
Can we?
NFL.
Can we now talk about the Browns?
Let's talk about the Shield.
Can we now talk about the statement he made about having the personnel but not having the right people to coach up and do the schemes for the personnel?
Yeah, let's do it.
The Browns have been disappointing, to say the least. Now, look, I say that, and maybe there are a lot of people that didn't really buy into it, and maybe just felt it's still the Browns, and so I don't have any belief or faith that they're going to, that it's going to turn around. But I mean, the things that Baker Mayfield was doing at the end of last season had a lot of hope around it, to say, like, he had a lot of glimpses, and really not just glimpses. I mean, a couple or few of total games where he was playing very, very good football at a high IQ, good decision making, leading drives down the field, and they're winning games that, people aren't expecting them to win. He's energetic. He's young. So it's like, okay, so we'll keep him. He looks like he's coming into his own, and we'll add, I don't know, Odell Beckham Jr., he's all right.
Why not?
Right? Yeah, we'll add him.
Let's throw the dice and gamble on that one.
Yeah, who's a really good player, and we'll add Jarvis Landry, who's a really good player. And look, we got Nick Chubb, who's a really good running back, and their linemen are pretty good. I mean, they're not great, but they're pretty good. They're solid. And then you put them out there, and I don't know if you've seen anything. The only thing I've really seen that is positive, I think there have been some games where Nick Chubb has run the ball very, very well. But I think you also have to look at potentially the defensive, the run defense they were playing and things like that. But otherwise, I haven't seen anything good from Baker Mayfield. He's not throwing the ball well. He's not making good decisions. He doesn't look like he's very confident in what he's doing. And I don't really think that Odell or Jarvis have done anything wrong, but you can't catch balls if they're not thrown to you, number one. So I remember a game, I can't remember who they were playing, but like Odell wasn't even targeted. You spend all this money to get one of the best receivers in the league, and you're not even throwing it his way.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. So how can he catch a ball if you don't throw it to him? So that goes to the schemes and the play calls, right? So you got that going on. And then even when he does throw it his way, a lot of times the passes aren't that great. So we talk about flossy or glossy. I'm flossing on the Browns. I'm picking them out of our teeth and throwing them away.
Throwing them away.
I built into the hype a little bit at the beginning of the season, but we're at week 8, 9.
I think the Browns were at a point where they could have been like the team of this for this generation. Like, just because of the type of personalities they had, like I think they got in front of the promotional branding before like the actual content.
I got you.
It's like when you okay. It's like DC Comics.
Okay.
Like, I mean, if you can have Batman and Superman in a movie, but if the script is whack, then the movie's not going to be good, even though it's Batman and Superman.
That happens a lot, actually.
So, and then one thing too about Baker, like even like you were the only person who was hype on him from the end of last season. I mean, all of these freaking companies were hype on him too because they signed him. Like he's on every commercial, right?
Yeah, all these endorsements, and he hasn't done anything.
The focus is there with him. It seems, I mean, like the decision making is like off whack. Like you can see him while he looks frenzied in the pocket. Like, I mean, it's like nothing is clicking. Like you need to be like bam, bam, bam while you're there. And he's not, it's just like the wheels aren't working quite right when it comes to like decision making. Like how, like, he can't, like he's like processing the defensive reads like properly, or like, I don't know. Like, I mean, that many people can't be like surprising you on a week basis. There are not that many defensive schemes out there that you can't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that.
But,
I mean, and you, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, continue.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I just think, you can tell pretty quickly, are they playing zone, are they playing man? And then within that, what does this mean? And it doesn't take long to tell that. Is a blitz coming? And again, these are things that you can tell very, very quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once you know that these are the things that's happening, you have your reads, you know how quickly you need to get rid of the football, and you have your option 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4, just depending on what the play is. So I don't know if it's a play calling issue, and so now he's getting frantic because these people aren't available, and he just doesn't know how to on his own figure out what to do. I don't really know what the problem is, but part of me thinks it's a lot on him too, just because when he does throw the football, the accuracy hasn't been there. So there's only so much responsibility that you can put on the play calls. For the plays that actually do develop, when you go to throw them, I mean, your receivers are there. You got to hit them, and I mean, there's just really not much of an excuse not to.
Right, and I don't think they used the run as effectively as they could. I think at first they were trying to lean too much on Baker being a quarterback, and then on the fact that they had Odell and Landry out there on the wings. So, I mean, I think they were trying to be a pass first team instead of a run first team. But I don't think, I think the way that Baker, like, he's best in situations where there's like a breakdown, where he has to scramble, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's only going to work if you get them in a field position where they can actually do something with it. Or if you get, or you have the defense that's buying into the fact, we're going to run the ball, you know what I'm saying? But, so if they don't respect that you're going to run it and run it well, then I think Baker as a player, is too much pressure on him to be a quarterback. You know?
Yeah. And you can't really.
He's more of a playmaker than a quarterback.
He'll be the quarterback.
Just imagine for a minute in this world where the Giants did not trade Odell to the Browns, but he was still a Giant. And his quarterback was our boy, Danny
Dimes. Yeah, look, it would have been cool to see because, he doesn't have a lot around him right now. So he's had some tough games the past few weeks, not counting last week. As far as when I say tough, just, a few more interceptions that I'm sure he would like to see. But you also have to realize he plays for the Giants, and there's only so much that you can do. But leaps and bounds beyond what Eli was giving them. He very much is a quarterback. He can, RPO type. He has a lot of different things he can do. And what I've noticed is he's calm, even under duress. He's confident and not cocky, but just confident in the process. And he seems to work very hard, to want to get better and to learn and to be successful. And then his IQ, football IQ is high, and his precision. I mean, he generally
very accurate.
You look at interceptions and you're like, but some of those have been where his teammates should have caught the ball, or they tip it and somebody else gets it, that sort of thing. So some of those interceptions, it always goes on the quarterback.
He's also a rookie too, though. So
that's true. This
learning.
is his first. Exactly. It's his first year. So you expect to have some of those growing pains. But from what I've seen thus far, I like what I've seen, and I think I think they did a good job passing the torch when they did. There was a lot of scrutiny, I feel like, that people had. Yeah, with Eli, and I get it. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but again, know when to hold him, when to fold him. I think that he'll end up being one because of the Super Bowl MVP.
I think he's going to be Hall.
Yeah, I think he will be. You're Super Bowl MVP
twice.
Yeah, so and those games
are Patriots. So that's he was just playing like some random teams.
I think he'll end up being in the Hall of Fame, but you got to know when it's time. And Eli had no mobility. His accuracy had gone down. Again, he still didn't have receivers, but even when Odell was there, he wasn't doing much with him. So, I'm excited for Danny Dimes. Monday Night Football against Dallas. Yeah.
This is his second Monday Night Football game. Or was it Thursday Night Football? He played against the Patriots. Either way, he's had some big spotlight.
Still.
Yeah.
He has. And I think this one will be a good one. They're at home. It's somewhat of a rivalry.
It is a rivalry. It's a big time rivalry.
The
East
Giants and the Cowboys. So
NFC.
I'm looking forward to it. And I'm rocking with Danny Dimes for my quarterback this week in fantasy. So we'll see what happens. See what happens. I also have Zeke Elliott on my team, so I want both of them to do well. We'll see.
Okay, that's okay.
I know. You know what the worst part is? That's actually not that bad. The worst is when you have a quarterback against
your
defense that you have, because then it's like, okay, I want the quarterback to throw touchdowns, but I want the defense to make picks and run for like pick six, or I want them to the fumble and recover, get interceptions.
Yeah.
But when the quarterback has the ball, I want them to score passing every time. So it's a similar thing. I want Zeke to score, but I also want Danny to throw some.
So you want a high-scoring game is what you want.
Pretty much. I need Zeke in the end zone a couple times. I need Danny throwing those dimes a few times.
You want Zeke to eat, and you want Danny to throw dimes.
There we go. So
yeah. Well, I think this game can be much closer than what people assume. I think just based off, we don't know if the Cowboys can be trusted yet.
They lost to the Jets.
And
then
the next week, the Jets were seeing ghosts. So,
they shouldn't have put that on TV.
That was funny.
Shame. It was, but shame on them. Shame on them. They know
hey, you're mic'd up. You're agreeing.
I know, but you did, but you forgot. You forgot. And here's the reason I say that. I just say you're right. You're mic'd up. You agreed to it, but I know they're not broadcasting everything. So they're being selective. And that's what they say that they're going to do. And that poor kid, I felt bad for him. It wasn't that big of a deal. I felt like they should have just cut it. I don't really have a good reason other than I just felt bad for him. And it was a horrible game and they looked awful. And he was just being very honest. And his honesty ended up being broadcast to every home in America.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but you're right. He signed up for it.
In London, because they're London News of Football.
Oh, and London. You're right. So not just America. London National Football.
Yeah.
They got a game in London this week. The Jaguars
and the Texans.
And the Texans. Yep.
Yeah.
London's been on it. Pretty much every week they have one out there. It seems like.
Yeah.
Just about.
I'm gonna grow that base there.
They are. And didn't they remind me if this actually happened or if it was just scheduled? Doing one in Mexico?
Yeah, they did that last year.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I thought so. It doesn't seem like they have one. Yeah. Was it last year?
Yes. Oh, it was scheduled. Well, I know. And I'm pretty sure at least sometime in the last 2 years they actually played a game in Mexico. I know. Yeah. Yes, they are trying to expand the borders. Yeah. Which that's we're trying to expand beyond the borders in football, but put up borders physically along the border.
Well, there's that. It's okay. Well, the thing with that is it's okay to put it down there and make money and have revenue off
exactly,
of it.
But you don't want them to come across, right? Yeah.
Because then
no. You do want them to come across and get their cheap labor, but then you don't want to give them rights. But they're okay. All right. All right.
Neither here nor there, I guess.
All right. Okay. So, just based off so far, you are very knee deep into the NFL season. Okay. So, what teams do you think are glossy, and what teams do you think are flossy?
Okay. So, of course, I've already said flossy, the Browns, right? Yeah. The Browns, the Dolphins, the Jets.
Okay, the flossy list is pretty easy, Kim.
Okay, let me start. Okay, I'm sorry. I was about to I had a few more, but thank you for don't get me started on Wacko Flacco. Well, I guess there's nothing to say because he's now out for the rest of the season. Let me go with the glossy. You're right.
Yeah.
Glossy.
Trust the gloss.
I can trust the gloss of the Patriots, who are undefeated. Tom Brady. They just brought in Mohamed Sanu. They have Julian Edelman, that is one of his favorite targets. And now their defense is
like historic.
Phenomenal.
It's like
out
a
of this
thing of
world.
beauty. Being a former student athletic trainer for the football team.
Ooh, and tell me more.
Yes, and I was, I was on the defensive side with the cornerbacks. Shout out to Coach Jones.
Hey.
So I can appreciate a good defense, and their defense is it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah. So they are definitely glossy. I'm not. Well, let me start with this one. The Saints. I'm rocking with them. I think they're better than
the Patriots because their offense is better.
Yeah, I will say that the offense is better. I think the offense. Oh, I'll say it this way. I think the offense is more dynamic.
Yeah,
I think they have more things that they can do.
I like that word.
I think the Patriots are a little more limited. But obviously, anytime Tom Brady throwing the ball, his decision making. I mean, he just doesn't make bad decisions often.
He does sometimes.
I mean, he does, because he's not perfect, but he doesn't make them often, and he's not somebody that's a liability. He's always going to be a huge asset,
especially in a big game.
Exactly. He's going to step up in a big game. He's going to score if you need him to score, and he knows. And something that a lot of young quarterbacks, at least what I'm seeing, especially this year, but I think every year, things that they don't know how to do well are, if you're in the backfield and you don't have anything, throw the ball away.
Throw it away. Oh, girl, how many times do I'm screaming, throw the ball away? My goodness, don't take the sack.
You're back there just getting sacked, just taking sacks, and now you're losing 12 yards, 15 yards. Jeez. Yeah, you already can't move it 10 yards at a time. Why are you going to take a sack, and now you got to try and get the ball down 20, 30 yards? Don't keep taking these sacks. Throw the ball away and get back to
everybody want to be the hero. Like,
exactly.
You not want to be on Sports Center. Oh, they made something out of nothing.
The scramble, yep. Everybody wants to scramble.
Everybody wants to scramble. That's not you, G. Give it
up. Yep. So I would say that about Tom Brady, that he's good with that. So but yeah, the Saints are looking really good, especially the way that they were able to still perform very well while Drew Brees was hurt. Teddy Bridgewater did his thing. Yeah, I think so too.
I think before then, I was concerned about their turnaround from last season because it still was a lag based off, that last play call, not getting that call for defensive interference. They cost them a trip to the Super Bowl. And so I felt like even the first game they played, I don't remember, but they had to rely on Drew Brees to win a game against a team they should have definitely beat. And then they played the Rams. The way they came out and played the Rams the second game, it was not. I was looking at, this is going to be like how the Falcons never recovered from that 2083.
They're still working on it.
It felt like it was going to be one of those things for the Saints, but then I think when Drew got hurt, it's like I feel like it rejuvenized them. Like they got like a, I don't know, like they got a bang shot pretty much. So I think they needed that.
I'm really, and Alvin Kamara isn't even back yet. At least I don't know if he's expected to play this week or not. I haven't checked.
Sure. Yeah.
But the fact that they've been able to do what they have done without him and without Drew Brees for 5 games, and people stepped up and played well, filling those roles and those positions, I think it speaks volumes of where they are and where they have the potential to go. So I'm glossy on them too.
Yeah.
The team that I was going to say something about, and I just feel like I'm still just hesitant, and maybe it's because of who they are, the 49ers, right? Obviously they're undefeated. They've got some tough games coming up. I'm just not sure if I'm sold quite yet.
I'm saying they are matte.
Okay. Okay.
They're a matte lipstick right now, and not so glossy. I mean, because I love a good matte, but it doesn't shine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I got you. Somewhere in between.
I think that with the 49ers, I'm not convinced yet.
Yeah, and then a game against, it was just Thursday.
The Cardinals.
Who did they play? Yeah, the Cardinals, and with their record and what they've been doing, it shouldn't have been that close. But they let them get back in the game, especially as good and as strong as their defense had come out. Right, their defense had come out very strong.
I was really surprised that their defense allowed them, especially that 80-yard touchdown that Kyler threw. That was ridiculous.
Exactly. So
that
letting
was
them back into that game,
like he was back in Oklahoma.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. And again, not to take anything away from him and what they did, but at the same time, you've built up this somewhat of a reputation starting from the beginning of the season. You're undefeated, and the defense is a huge chunk of how you got to where you are. So I was surprised that they let them back in that game the way that they did.
But once again, they really haven't played anybody.
I'm just that one. The jury's still out on the 49ers.